Testing. All right, there we go, man. I am very, very pissed off. I was gonna make me a fucking cup of coffee because I plan on having a fucking late night tonight, and the button stuck. Like it worked fine. I made me like a pot this morning, and I was just gonna do me like a little single pod thing, and then the fuck is this? Oh, and then yeah, now this shit stuck. Like I can't even change the cups. Like I'm mad now. I'm super mad now because now I know tomorrow is gonna be a fucking problem. I want some goddamn coffee. Anyway, what's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to the Den Show. We're gonna talk about some stuff. I'm not as happy as to talk about it now because my fucking coffee maker. Like I just got back on my coffee addiction, and now the fucking coffee maker's broke. That pisses me off. It's like really weird too because buttons that were working fine, they're like I don't. I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna take the fucking panel off this motherfucker. So now it's gonna be on my mind because I'm very annoyed by the fact that the coffee maker, like literally, like just this moment. Man, I'm very pissed off. Anywho, now we're gonna talk about the federal police presence in DC. We're gonna talk about if it's a good thing, a bad thing, if this is an act of tyranny on behalf of the POTUS. Is this the sign of things to come? Or is this maybe, just maybe, what we need more of in America, right? Because some people are hailing this as, hey, you know, DC's been a very bad place. Things have not been good. And, you know, these guys have come in and they've cracked down and things have changed in over, you know, just this little week or so that they've been there. Other people are saying these are acts of tyranny. These people are oppressing people. They're harassing people. People are afraid of getting deported. You know, they say that they're bothering the homeless. So it's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of conversation going on around this. So what I'm going to do is, is just TD, what's the motherfucking deal? Ms. Bell, what's the motherfucking deal? Jack Tripper, what's the motherfucking deal? So it's a lot of back and forth. So I'm going to show you guys some content. I'm going to kind of express my thoughts on it. I'm going to show you guys kind of what is and what ain't happening or what the people are saying. It was one I wanted to get. I forgot to get. Like, I'm really mad about this coffee. Like, I'm pissed off about this coffee situation, right? Like, I'm very, very angry. Like, I'm very, very angry about this, right? So let's kind of get into it. Anyway, so you know, the Den, fair and balanced as never. Always very opinionated. Everybody's opinions are welcome, whether you agree or disagree with me. It doesn't really matter. This is about having a conversation. The Den, discussing everything normally, discussing everyday news, discussing Ed's nuts. That's a new one. I haven't thought of that one before. But shout out to Joel. Welcome to the Den. Let's get into it, man. It's like I say, it's plenty to talk about, plenty to discuss. Let's boogie on down. I'll try not to talk for the whole 2 hours like I did yesterday. And actually get the phone line open so we can take some calls. Let's do this. All right. So President Trump has taken over D.C. police and directing National Guard members, FBI personnel, and other federal agents to patrol the city in an effort to crack down on crime in the capital, despite alleged, my words, we're going to get into the reason why I say alleged, falling crime rates. Big picture, D.C.'s crackdown is an escalation of the president activating federal law enforcement infrequently used in civilian operations to combat a perceived domestic disturbance, raising concerns about accountability, training, and civil rights. Why is D.C. a unique case? Washington, D.C.'s unique position in an area controlled by both city and federal powers gives the president the ability to temporarily control the D.C. Police Department and exclusively control the D.C. National Guard. The president put the D.C. Police under federal control on Monday. And it feels like another Monday. Anybody ever tell you got a case of the Mondays? If you ain't seen Office Space, you are missing out on life. But anyway, and directed other agencies to help crack down on crime and homelessness encampments in the city. 19 multinational agencies are assisting in the federal crackdown. 1,450 personnel patrolling the city by Tuesday night. What has Trump already done? Trump deployed the National Guard in Los Angeles earlier this year to crack down on protests against his immigration raids against California. Who cares? Trump also sent the National Guard to the southern border, which was very necessary. If you're down in the South, you would understand and you would know. The president said that Monday he was planning on target 5 other Democrat-led cities in a campaign against crime, despite crime levels falling in all the locations that he named. So I'm not going to read the rest of this. I'm not going to get into how federal officers train. I don't really care. So with all this saying, you say, well, the crime rates are falling. You read that, or I read it to you. You said, well, the crime rates are falling. If the crime rates are falling, then why is he imposing his will on the citizens of D.C.? Well, there has been a federal investigation into these crime statistics, right? And I know a lot of you watch these cop shows. I don't get into it. It's kind of weird. I think last show that I was even say I watched that was relatively copy was The Wire. But I know certain places where crime is running rampant, where everything is crazy. It looks bad on government officials who want to keep their position if the numbers aren't in favor of what they said they're going to do, right? If things look bad, if the crime rates of people getting killed, if murders are happening, carjackings are happening, robberies, all these things are happening, doesn't look good. So we've seen it before. Don't believe that you wouldn't see it again. That people are willing to do whatever it takes to stay in position and of power. And so allegedly, people believe that there has been some book cooking going on when it comes to these statistics in D.C. So, same U.S. Attorney Office that praised the drop in crime in the Capitol in April has begun an investigation into the police department resisting President Trump's takeover. Like if you're a police officer, right? And you would probably, if you want people to snitch, you want people to tell, why wouldn't you want additional assistance in helping getting crime off the streets, right? And helping getting criminals off the streets, reducing crime. Like, what would you complain about if, this is what's going on, other than maybe people believing that you're not doing your job as efficiently as possible? That's a conversation we'll get into before the stream is over with. Because, again, there's so many different angles you could look at this. And, we're going to look at it honestly, right? And we're going to talk bad about everybody. So I hope you're here for that. Anyway, city officials have challenged the rationale of such aggressive assertion of power, noting that most major categories of crime have been falling since 2023. U.S. Attorney Office in Washington, D.C. investigating where city police officials falsified crime data, according to two people familiar with the matter. Another salvo in the feud between federal and local authorities after Trump administration seized control of law enforcement in the nation's capital. The investigation is likely to prompt new criticism that the administration is using the levers of the criminal justice system to pursue the president's political opponents. And justifying his takeover of the city's police force, President Trump has claimed crime in Washington is worse than the statistics show. I believe that's everywhere, right? I believe that is everywhere, right? I mean, you could easily do it. You could easily say, hey, if you are the police chief of some major force, hey, we're going to not look into these things. We're going to look into these things. We're going to document certain things a certain way. So things look good. So we look like we're doing a better job than we actually are, right? Because allegedly crime is falling everywhere, but you see more and more police departments having these crazy hiring sprees. And let's be honest, they're hiring a lot of lackluster cops. A lot of the overweight cops, I don't know how they get through the academy. I think academy's like, depending on where you're at, like 4 or 5 months, right? And we can get into that and the details of that. But you see a lot of overweight cops these days, right? And I believe two kinds of cops are the most dangerous cops because, again, if you're in a position where you have a little bit of power, but physically you are less capable of wielding that power than somebody who may be in a little bit better shape than you, you're more likely to over-abuse and overuse the magnitude of the power that you're allowed to have, more likely than somebody who is capable in their ability. So you kind of determine what I'm saying there. If you get what I'm saying, good. If you don't, well, I'm talking about fat cops and female cops tend to cause more of an issue than cops who are in shape. If you're a male cop that's in shape and you're full of testosterone, you might want to duke it out. You want to throw some people on the ground. You want to rough them up. If you're a fat cop who is out of shape, don't want to fight nobody. Female cop who tends to be perceived as weaker, or you're going up against a guy who may be a lot larger, you're more likely to use a weapon, a taser, a gun, or whatever's at your disposal than you are to go hand to hand. If you disagree, we can talk about that. So, again, he revisited the claim Monday when he disclosed social media posts that an investigation has been opened into the issue. DC gave fake crime numbers in order to create a false illusion of safety. This is a very bad and dangerous thing to do, and they are under serious investigation for doing so. So, again, I'm not going to dive all in that, just to kind of give you a little brief glimpse of the conversation that's happening around this and why the federal police are in D.C. Now, from what I heard or read, there was one of the Doge guys, right? One of the Doge guys was attacked. Him and his girlfriend were out on a date. I believe he was carjacked, or they were trying to carjack him. He kind of fought back. They beat his ass real bad. Was not a good look, right? So if you're talking about a government official getting assaulted for the wrong reasons, and we can get into that too, and I don't condone violence on anybody, but we can have conversations about certain things and, what does and doesn't work as a citizen, as people, as, hey, that's what this country is founded on. Anywho, so I don't know how long I expect this channel to last. I'm going back into crazy honcho mode. But anyway, so that kind of prompted this whole thing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, before I get really opinionated about it, I'm going to show you some footage from the ground, let's say that, right? So kind of what's going on, what this DC police presence looks like, how they're interacting with people. And there was one I really want to show you. I just didn't save it. I didn't have time. But I'm going to let you kind of make a decision for yourself. Some of these videos or some of these clips, maybe a minute or so long. If I feel like I have enough time, I'm going to go run and try to fix the coffee machine and come back. But let's get into it. Let us talk about it, and let's have a genuine conversation. And I don't think they're going to send them to every major city, but I think they're going to send them to cities that, where the violent crime is out of hand. And I mean, why not? Why not? Because again, it's a lot of crazy stuff going on as I get older. We can say we all had our history, we all had our younger days, and maybe didn't always make the best decisions, maybe didn't always do the right things. But as you get older, you look at stuff, right? Now, it sounds fucked up. I don't care too much about the youth, but I think about the older people. Like, I've always had a reverence for people older than me. I've always looked up to older people. I've always had that appreciation. And you see some of these generations that have, come after us, our successors, and they are ruthless. They don't care. They have no respect. They have no morals, and they're getting younger and younger. And that's not to say that shit didn't always happen when we were young. Like you saw young members in gangs and all kind of shit. You start getting affiliated with a young age and all kind of shit like that. But there was still always like and not everywhere, we're gonna pick and choose cases, but there was always like a reverence. You had a little bit of respect for your elders, OG men thing, whatever you want to call it, however you want. Now these little motherfuckers don't give a fuck about nothing because their parents raised them their parent raises them like shit. Then they act like friends with the kids. So the kids you don't have respect for your parents. You don't have respect for the people who raised you. Why are you gonna have respect for anybody else, right? So you can see all kind of crazy stuff going on. And I think that for that older crowd, for those old, especially older women, I feel like, hey, we got to do something to protect our grandmas, right? So grandmas, mamas, whatever you want to call it, we can't always be there all the time, right? So it is what it is. Let me say, like I said, I'm going to show you some things. I'm going to let you guys make some decisions because I try not to influence y'all too much. I like to let y'all see what y'all want to see on your own and then, make your own unbiased opinion. So let's start this off with, I believe this is the mayor. I got about 1, 2, 3, 3, 6, 9, cranberry wine, 15 videos I want to show you guys. So let's start with this one. And yeah, push the button, cut it on. No, that's the wrong button. Stand up.
I would caution everybody to think, is because you're all very logical, smart people, and you want all of this to make sense. This doesn't make sense. You know it doesn't make sense. The numbers on the ground in the district don't support 1,000 people from other states coming to Washington, D.C. You know that. We're in this beautiful school with children singing about to go to school in a beautifully renovated building with the most prepared teachers in the country.
What the fuck does that have to do with anything? And so I kind of sometimes I catch little clips that I know are relevant to the thing. I don't watch them all the way through because I like to be just as shocked as some of you guys. What the fuck do the kids singing in school have to do with anything? What the fuck does the school that you're like? This is when you know somebody has absolutely nothing to say, right? Has no real points and is coming off very disingenuous. But a certain group of people tends to do that more than the others. And we can talk about demographics and we can talk about political affiliations when we talk about this. But you combine the both of those, you get an extremely, extremely disingenuous individual, which is what you got right here. It's kind of smug. It's kind of condescending, if you ask me. Again, and even if the numbers are dropping from what were extremely high numbers and slightly declining a little bit, doesn't mean that there's not a problem, right? If things could be done and can be expedited and results can happen a lot faster, then why not welcome that assistance? Does it matter if somebody's from out of town or not? You have cops who go to other towns all the time. They get, in a little trouble where they're from, or they go work in an area where the crime may be this bad or may not be that bad, but whatever. And they go police other places all the time. So being from out of town has no impact, here nor there. Also, if you ask me, in my opinion, those who are federally trained tend to be the upper echelon of policemen. And again, this is not about praising police. It's not about dismissing police. This is just about, the way the world works, the way things are. And again, if you see, I'm gonna show you guys some pictures here of some of the 1,400 or so that they brought in. You're gonna see a lot of them are in much better shape, men and women, than your average cops that you see now today patrolling the street. Because you got a lot of lumpy cops out there, right? And I told you, lumpy cops are dangerous cops, right? Cops that are not able to, if you're not able to subdue an individual one-on-one, then you become kind of problematic to the job. Anyway, but what she's saying is not rational, right? Like, again, if this was a real issue and you were really she's just trying to cover her ass and make it look like, well, you know, we've been saying that we've been doing good. I don't believe it, right? Again, we have everywhere. And I mean, this is not just a DC problem. This is an everywhere problem. And I think DC is just the beginning of the experiment. And so if you live in a major city, and that's what I tell you people all the time, cities are terrible places, right? Being surrounded by a lot of people that you don't know is a terrible way to live. It's going to happen. If you're in a major city where a lot of major crime is happening, especially in certain in most major cities are, you know, on a certain political side of the aisle, you can expect this to be happening soon.
Country. You know the facts on the ground don't support this. You know that. You know it couldn't be done in a neighboring state. You know that. This is not about something that fits into logic. So if you want to know what's happening, the question is really not for us. It's for why the military would be deployed in an American city to police Americans. That's the question. And it's not for me.
Right, and partially, it's partially the military, but again, there's a lot of federal agencies. And again, I'm not necessarily condoning. I'm, you know, why are you bringing in the Army? Why are you bringing the military? I'm not for that. I'm not with that. But we can get on that aspect of it because, you know, I think that when you have certain people who have signed up for certain careers, some people put careers over everything. That's their whole identity. I've never kind of subscribed to that kind of belief, but that's what people need. People need a foundation as to who they are. So, hey, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a that. I'm a human being first, right? That's the way I look at it. And I try to be genuine to other human beings. But some people, you know, prioritize other stuff over things. You can expect if a person is on a police force or they're in the military or any of these things, and then that commands come down, they're going to follow those commands. So they're going to follow that first. That's just what happens. It just is what it is. Don't expect anything less, right? They're not necessarily your enemy. They're not necessarily your ally. They're just going to follow the commands. Depending on what side of those commands you place yourself on, well, that's the outcome you're going to get. So, you know, think accordingly. Think in that manner, right? Don't be emotional about it. That's just kind of how it is. But anyway, what this lady's saying, again, very condescending, because what she's trying to do is play the intelligence angle. Well, you guys know, trust me, believe me, is what she's saying without saying so many words. Hey, you guys are smart enough to know this. You guys are smart enough to understand that's going on. And she's playing that card, right? And it's kind of the same thing certain people say about the other side, if you really pay attention. Anywho, because then it makes her look like she's not doing her job. It makes it look like she's lackluster. And that's really a lot of these people that some of these people I'm going to show you that are talking, and then versus what they're saying about on what the people on the ground are saying. You're seeing two different things, right? The video I was mentioning that I wanted to show you guys that I didn't see it was actually involving some activity with some homeless people, because what they're saying is allegedly that they're going around and they're harassing homeless people. But there may not be 100% truth in that generally, like a lot of these conversations are. It's not always 100% truth. Delta, I hope the federal police get you first. Good evening. Anyway, let's watch some more. Let's see some more stuff here. So let's kind of give you a picture of the presence of what's going on around here. And make sure I don't double do. I'm just picking videos randomly, honestly. So you can kind of see what it's
I'll come down there. I mean, we can come back up here like later. Like this.
Yeah, it's like a...
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So I wasn't saying anything relevant. I was just making a bunch of awful commentary and complaining about my coffee maker still. So they're posted up. And again, that's not an active patrol. They're just kind of there. So let's kind of give a better view. Have some other videos of them, roaming the streets, doing what they've been assigned to do. And then again, we'll kind of hear some more commentary from the politicians, and then we'll hear commentary from the people. And as expected, as it usually does, there's a huge difference in what's being said, right? There's a huge difference in who's saying what and doing.
Hold on, I'm going.
Take off your fucking mask.
That's so crazy. It's always like, and again, it's always the one saying the most crazy off the wall shit. Like, as soon as pressure gets applied, those be the first motherfuckers to fall. Oh, you're touching me. Oh my God. Like, you can tell people who have really been in sincere situations and people who just have always talked from the sidelines, who's always been in the stands. You know what I mean? Because the people who've always been in the stands, what do people in the stands do? They yell nonsense. They yell a bunch of rhetoric. The same thing with games and sporting events. They just yell. They have no real active participation. They just make noise. But then as soon as the field expands or you're actually on the field and then you have to deal with the contact, full contact sport, you cannot handle it. You start crying. You start complaining about the rules. You know what I mean? So I find it weird that people who do certain things, especially who do these, you know what I'm saying? They're not really doing anything. And I'll show you some more like here. Again, and that's all it is. And that's really what I believe is happening more so than ever. Now, they say they've been like 300 arrests. I'm going to show you one. And to me, some of the videos I've seen, they've been pretty cool. I've seen some videos where it looks like they've had to get a little bit more aggressive. But, and again, I don't have every video I've ever seen because these are, some I got kind of last minute. But I've seen several things. I've been kind of following it quietly over the days. But that's what it is. And that's why the numbers, that's why I say, so it can be kind of a misleading thing, right? So if you're a criminal, I don't know how y'all know, if y'all ever heard of a term called the jump out boys, and depending on what kind of, position you've been in society, you may be more familiar with them than others. But if you were ever a corner poster, a corner boy, whatever you want to call it, if you ever stood at a fucking corner store, I would never. If you ever stood at a corner store, in attempts to make money, doing all kind of debauchery and shenaniganery, you may have encountered such a situation, right? And the jump out boy is basically a police task force where they pull up on you very quickly if you appear to be committing a criminal offense, and they, basically don't give you much time to react. Now, this is why I always wonder how fat people do crime, especially like you ever seen a fat motherfucker posted up on the corner, because you're not running from these motherfuckers. They call them jump out boys for they're going to jump out and run you down. Anyway, so again, if you're up to no good, right, and that there's 1,500 more police, right? So I mean, let's be honest. We love to say criminals are dumb. The dumb criminals are the ones that get caught. There are people who had successful criminal careers and never been caught. You would never know. You would never think, right? And some of them are politicians. So take that how you will. But, some of them are smart. So, hey, I'm going to do the dirt that I do, but then I'm not going to put myself in a position to where the likelihood of me getting caught is going to increase exponentially. So if I am out on the corner, if I am out on the streets, if I do these things, this is how I make my livelihood, make my money, then I'm not going to put myself out there knowing that there are 1,500 more law enforcement agents around to get me, right? It's different if, I know the regular task force, I know their schedule, I know how they operate. I probably got somebody on the inside, which you'll be surprised how many people who are engaged in criminal activity do have ties to people inside the police force. You'd be surprised how many cops are actually engaged. And that's why I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple of cops who are mad about that because it's hindering their ability to do things. But so that's part of the reason why crime is going to be down significantly, because people are going to say, I'm not going to go out here. I know they're going to be out here. They can only be out here for a month. So maybe for 1 month, I'm going to sit my ass down and chill so I don't go to jail or put myself in a worse position, prison. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they're making arrests. They're shutting shit down. But at the same time, just the presence alone is causing a decrease in the numbers, right? Because why? If I just know these motherfuckers are walking around handling business, just patrolling, right? Why am I going to go put myself out there? I don't know their routine. I don't know any of that stuff. So as a criminal, why would you do that? So again, it's a kind of a two-sided thing, and we can get into that too when we start taking calls. But let's take another politician's words and see what he has to say about this.
We will not bow down or succumb to his tyrant rage. He is one of the biggest threats to humanity that we've seen in an entire generation. We are justified in our resistance to his authoritarianism.
For the president to say, well, we can take over your city whenever we want, and I'm the commander in chief, and I can use the troops whenever we want. I think that that is an abuse of our troops, and I think it's an overreach of presidential powers.
In my city, in Baltimore, we have the fewest amount of homicides through this date on record. That's 50 years, a 50-year low. The president could learn a lot from us instead of throwing things at us.
I'm not part of the group that says we.
Bro, you missed me with that Baltimore shit. I mentioned the wire. Illusion, what's the motherfucking deal? Always good to see you, sir. Missed me with that Baltimore shit. And dirty cops are everywhere, right? But, my saying is a few good apples. Right, they always try to say, "Oh, it's always just a few bad apples that ruin them." No, it's only a few good apples. The bunch is already ruined, right? But shout out to those good apples. The rest of them, well, you can feel how you feel about what I say. But that's the thing, right? That's the thing. And I don't know what Eric Adams is going to say. I really hadn't fully watched this video, but again, you notice the the demographics, right? Notice the similarities in the people who were speaking out about this, right? Notice their political affiliations and notice the words that they use, right? Because we know who their base is, we know who their constituents are, and they're not not always the sharpest knives in the drawer, right? Because a little cheap talk can, definitely incite certain people to say a bunch of shit that they don't know. Now, I told you, I've never been MAGA. I'm not Broderick, right? But I always thought Trump was very fucking funny. And he does what he says he's going to do. I'm going to give him that kind of credit. But the greatest threat to humanity, and we're going to start using another little term around here because we know things are changing on the internet. And so we have certain groups we like to address in certain ways. So I'm going to be upping the lingo. Definitely changing up the den lingo. And, we always have our own little original conversations here. That particular group we love to talk about, we're going to start addressing them as the Black Hearts. That's what I think. I think their blood pumps oil, right? Anyway, so his allegiance to the Black Hearts, as all of these policies, every last one of these policies that you see, I guarantee there's a Black Heart behind them that is helping assist their rise, right? And because the Black Hearts definitely love to align with the Black people, right? Because it's easy to keep those people corralled. It doesn't take much. Hey, you got the same skin color as me. Hey, say the things I like. It's cool. I'm never gonna go against you. Shout out to Jasmine Crockett. It's no longer has a congressional seat. Anyway, let's hear what Eric Adams has to say, because Eric Adams kind of switched it up lately. So we're gonna see exactly what type of time he's on. I feel like he's gonna go back and say some bullshit. Yeah. And here's the thing, and what he said. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned bring it back to Baltimore. Baltimore saying, "Oh, we've had one of the lowest on day," doesn't mean like you could. This is why rhetoric and words are dangerous, right? Because people are generally vague when they say things, and I do this too. I get like when I make descriptions in the post, or you do certain things to attract certain stuff. The power of words, spells is the combination of using certain words to elicit a certain reaction. And if you know anything about a little bit about psychology and understanding, or just society as a whole, words can elicit. You can say the same thing in two different ways and get two completely different responses, right? Or you can say the same thing in two different ways and elicit different emotions from people, right? And it could still partially be the truth, but you're going to get certain types of reactions. To sit here and say that, well, it's the lowest on record, it could be the lowest on record by one fucking murder, right? Like, and you could go out and say that. You could go out and say, well, usually by this time this year, we have 300 bodies floating in the river, right? To practice proper spell. I agree. 100%. But you could go out and say, well, usually by this time we got 300 bodies. We average 300 bodies. Well, this year we averaged 299. And you can accurately and honestly and wholeheartedly go out there and say this and not be lying, right? You could go out and you say this manipulative thing and not be lying. And the difference between that one murder might be a missing person versus a found body, right? Because that's what there's a lot of missing persons that don't get registered as murders. Like, you got to understand police statistics as well, right? So you got to understand the difference in slight terminology. Like, that was almost from a robbery to a burglary, right? It's almost the same act. It's just a matter of a person is present or not, right? You know, if a person is possibly put in harm's way or not, right? So it's a lot of nuance to these things. And your average individual, your average person doesn't think about shit like this. They just want to hear their people say the shit they want to hear, right? But people have to stop being so blind to the shit that the people that they like say and understand why they're saying it, how they're saying it, and, you know, what it truly means. So here we are. But let's get into it, right? So let's finish here with what Eric Adams says, and let's talk some more shit about America.
We don't want to work in coordination with the federal government, but we don't need anyone to come in and take over our law enforcement apparatus. We have the finest police department on the globe. If the White House wants to help us in what we're doing to continue our success, and if we can help other cities, municipalities, they may want to ask us to come in and help other cities. We're willing to go into other cities and help them as well.
Oh, he actually didn't say it's something as bad as what I was going to think he was going to say. But I'm telling you, Eric Adams, he's kind of shifted after all that little scandal and everything he had going on with him. And again, talking about people knowing how to cook numbers and manipulate things and flip shit. The people who nod no matter what they say. Like, we know that, and again, when I say a lot of stuff about certain groups of people, right, especially politically, right, and I talk about, you know, crime in democratic cities and, you know, liberal shit, like, let's not act like, you know, Republicans don't have their fair share of bullshit too. I think just the Republicans excel more in the white collar benefits of crime. I'm not saying that Democrats aren't doing that too. You know, they're getting their money in the back end. Well, but Republicans have ways of suppressing it and then getting money on the back end. The Democrats, they just don't give a fuck. Anywho, so that's kind of my thing. You know, all politicians, I feel like all politicians are shit. But anyway, let's get more into it. But yeah, absolutely. Like I said, when you have a presence, when you establish that presence, because what I really want to know is once they leave, shout out to MK98. What's the motherfucking deal? Shout out to you. But I feel like, you know, once they leave, once you have that presence, like I was saying earlier, you have 1,500 more law enforcement agents, right? And I said I would show you guys kind of what that looks like. You know, that, yeah, people are going to be more cautious of going out and committing crimes. They're going to hold off for a month or so until these people are, because I think you have a month that they're allowed to do it, right? To bring that in. So people are going to calm down for a month. They're going to starve for a month. They're going to do whatever other thing for a month. And then, you know, once these guys are out of town, I want to see how what the numbers show then, right? If those people who were behind it are honest, right? So remember I told you the federal cops or federal agents are generally in better shape than your average cops, your average police force. I try to shrink this. I didn't realize that picture was that goddamn big. Especially the female cops that are in this picture. You see several female cops. The federal level, right, in these various departments, they tend to be, one, more disciplined, more dedicated to their craft because they want to excel in their careers and do that. So if they do start off in a police force, you know, they probably the upper echelon of their police force, or, you know, they come out of college, they do whatever. They tend to be in more shape. Remember, I tell you, fat cops and female cops can be very dangerous. I think a fit female cop is probably not as bad as a fat male cop, honestly. Like, so we can look at it like that. But you see a lot of these federal agents, much better shape, much healthier looking than your average cop on your average police force, right? Because depending on where you're from, your average police force is overweight, and some of them are on the verge of obesity, right? And we're talking local cops, we're talking about sheriffs, we're talking about other than your state police force. Because I know them fucking them Texas state police don't play. Them motherfuckers are all fucking taller than me, and fucking they're in shape. Like, there's a certain standard, right? And that's part of the problem too with a lot of these things. A lot of these standards, these hiring standards, have declined, right? with a lot of these police forces. But I understand it. You're going to have certain people who don't want to do the job and, don't want to take the risk. But again, so yeah, and I'm going to show y'all, like I said, I'm showing y'all the politicians, what the politicians are saying. And sophisticated ignorance, what's the motherfucking deal? Yeah, we've been back. I still ain't been as consistent as I need to be, but I've been back up to my shenanigans and tomfoolery. Good to see you, as always. But yeah, like I said, so you got these cops are more in shape, right? And so they're patrolling and they're doing their thing. I don't see why other cops would necessarily have a problem with them kind of making their job a little bit easier, other than it kind of makes you look like, well, why couldn't you do this, right? But you just didn't have the numbers. So, and I mean, it's a different strategy to it. It's a different element to it. But again, if it's causing and it's getting results, I don't understand why you're complaining. Because I'm again, like I said, I don't care about the youngsters. I don't care about, people of middle age. It's about the older folks, right? And you got a lot of these young motherfuckers who just don't give a fuck about anything. And they're out roaming the streets and doing all kinds of shit. I mean, I've seen little videos of fucking like a 10 and 11-year-old little girl. They were carjacking. Only reason they got caught is because there was like a Tesla that they were robbing right beside. And they were supposed to be like in school. Like it used to be young little niggas and not even that young, but now like all this shit is on the internet and they put all the crime on the internet so everybody wants to do it. It used to be you were initiated or affiliated, or maybe you were inebriated, I don't know. And you kind of got into those kind of things. Now it's this, they make it, they try to romanticize this lifestyle, right? And then whenever the pressure isn't what it used to be, the charges aren't what they're letting you go, they're letting walk away. Like motherfuckers don't even get booked anymore. They get bonds and get to walk away, what they call it, PR bonds, right? Motherfuckers were catching bodies, catching murders, getting PR bonds and going out and committing more murders. That was really bad out here in Houston for a while. But again, it is what it is.
You alright, dude? You good? No. Hey, pull Chris off.
Maybe I was giving too much credit.
Stop! Get out of our city. Get out of our city. Choke yourself out. Right here. Turn it.
What agency are you guys with?
Who are you guys? Oh, are you guys the cops? Shut the up. Are you? Who are you? Who are you? Take your mask off.
What agency are you guys with?
These nuts.
As long as it's
You guys tell us who are you?
nuts.
Oh, you guys are ruining this country. You know that, right? Liberals already ruined it.
Oh, there we go. Burn. He burned him. Oh.
Can we see some badge work, guys?
Hey guys, already ruined it. No number, no ID, no name.
That was actually kind of fucking funny. +1 for the federal agent. That was kind of that was kind of funny. But see, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying earlier is that if you have been on the field, right, versus being on the sideline, it's always, when I say the sidelines are the people who complain who have no participation in any of it. And I think if you've been in the field, you understand how that side of the coin works. And sometimes when things happen and, it doesn't go in your favor, you understand the outcome, right? You understand why it happened, right? And you understand it probably wasn't necessary. Didn't probably have to go that fucking far, but the scenario I placed myself in got me that way, right? And again, I'm not condoning any of it, but I think you just look at it differently when you've played certain games, right? And when you haven't, and you've never took a risk, and you've never, and you just see some shit, you just, like I say, a fan from the stands, right? Just like when real games happen on the field. You've never took a hit. If you've never, you've never been blindsided, right? But you're just a fan in the stands running your fucking mouth. You don't know. You don't understand, right? You don't understand. You know the rules of the game, but you don't understand the rules of the game because you haven't experienced the game. So, right, exactly. So it's it's a real wild deal. But let's get back to it. I got more content for you. That was kind of actually kind of funny by that fucking cop. I'm not gonna lie. That was. Some cops are funny, right? Some cops are actually pretty funny.
Under the home rule law that governs Washington, D.C., the president can take over the police department more or less for 30 days. He is the commander-in-chief of the National Guard and so can deploy it without having to ask anyone to deploy it in Washington, D.C. to address the out-of-control crime problem. And yes, it is out of control. Anyone who tells you crime in Washington, D.C. is okay or going down is oblivious, lying, or doesn't live here.
Right. Like, yeah, and that's the thing. And I'll actually give you this. Like, from what I've seen, I haven't seen anything super outrageous. I haven't seen anything like, and I'm not saying that it's not. The video I was telling y'all about earlier that I wanted to get out, didn't. It was a lady running around with a fucking bullhorn talking about, oh, look at these two motherfuckers out there fucking with everybody. And it's like it wasn't necessarily in camp, but there was some homeless people outside on the thing. They're fucking with the homeless and all that. And, you know, basically they just arrested a guy who was selling drugs, right? And I guess I don't know if the guy was homeless selling drugs or whatever. And so another guy comes along and he's doing the interview and he's interviewing the people. And there's a lady, she's sleeping on the ground doing the interview. It's real polite, black lady, a little heavy set. And he's talking to her. She's like, no, you know, she's like, they're not fucking with us. They come, they talk to us. They're very polite about it. And the only people that they're trying to do is get rid of the people who have the guns, the people who are selling drugs or maybe out here publicly on drugs, but they're not harassing everybody. She, talked to her for maybe about a minute or two. And he talked to a couple of other people. And it's like, the only people out here who are really bothering us is the people with the damn bullhorn, like, making a scene. They're not helping anything. Like, if you really want to help somebody, get them off the street. Put your effort into getting them off the street instead of making a scene. So liberal protests are really weird to me. Like, protesting, period. I don't know what it gets. I mean, protest is Mr. Anderson. What's the motherfucking deal? Good to see you. Like, protest to me is weird all the way around. If you're gonna protest, get some action going on behind it, right? Like, get some activity behind it. Make it newsworthy. I think I showed y'all that one already. Yeah, I did. I showed y'all that one. Let me just go in order so I don't miss and forget everything. Did I show y'all this one? See, because this is what I do. I'm jumping around and forget.
How y'all doing today? Y'all staying in that trouble? All right, cool. You got your ID on you, Chip?
Well, no, I live right here.
Okay, cool.
It's a cigarette. Did y'all get a call or something about right here?
No, so we're doing checks, keeping everybody safe down here, right? Have you heard of the federal surge that Donald Trump's putting out?
No.
Right. You don't follow like Code 3, anything like that people are putting up? All right, so Trump's.
So this is actually a video I saw when this shit first happening, and I honestly, I'm gonna let y'all watch and y'all just tell me what you think.
Trump's got all federal agencies kind of coming together 7 days and going out, trying to stop the violent crime, all kind of stuff. So we're out here contacting people, talking to them, right? Quality of life offenses, smoking, drinking in public, right? Can't happen outside, right? Most people know that. So we're contacting people, trying to advise them of the law so they learn, right? And then if there's other stuff going on where it turns into there's multiple agencies or somebody, there's a shooting and things like that. So there's extra hands available, all right? So we're just out here trying to inform people and educate people. It's not like we're trying to just go grab people and ruin someone's life over a joint or something like that, all right?
I only asked because when you walked up, at the moment you walked up, you only asked me.
Yeah, well, it smelled like the odor of marijuana, burnt marijuana in the air, right? And you're the only guy that had something lit in your hand, and I didn't flash right, so I didn't realize it was just a cigarette. So that's on me. I appreciate you understanding and not getting chippy. All right, so just know, right? Learn, teach, tell your boys, like, yo, everybody's out, from FBI to park police. Right? So do your thing. Let them know. Don't be smoking outside. Don't be drinking outside, because Donald Trump is tired of it. People coming to visit.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know smoking in public?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the arrestable offense.
Because in Maryland, it's recreational, so I didn't know.
Yeah, so DC, it's recreational use as well, right? Like, you can legally possess up to 2 ounces. You can gift an ounce to your boy, right? So if you had 2 ounces and he said he needed a zip, you can give him a zip, but you can't smoke outside.
When I first saw this video and I heard him say, you get a zip, that's all I needed to know. If you know, you know. As soon as he said, oh, you got a zip, you want to give him a zip, that's all I needed to know. Like, this is why rappers are fucking stupid. This is why like so much hood shit is just so fucking dumb. You know, niggas be loving the mafia and the cartels, but see, they're smart about how they do things. They don't go out making songs and everything, just giving law enforcement, just hand it to them. Let me make a mixtape with all the new slang and give it away. Like, and don't get me wrong, you know, the music is entertaining, right? But let's not act like motherfuckers ain't rapping the blue because they ain't really got nothing else. Motherfuckers ain't got no like bars and ain't got no real metaphors and punchlines and shit. They're just basically rapping the blueprint. Like some of all these new kids and their fucking music, teach them how to drill. And let me tell you exactly how I killed this guy so you can take me to jail. How did they figure it out? I made a rap. Like, you know, but this is why. Like these motherfuckers listen to the fucking shit, right? Right, exactly. Just build a rapport, get real cool with you, make you feel a certain way. But he could have been a hoe ass nigga about it. He could have been a bitch about it. But instead, he was cool. He was like, hey, look, man, you know, blah, blah, blah. Just tell you people. So it's like if they were really on a hunt, they want to try to take the time to halfway educate them. They just, all right, cool, whatever, and been looking for the next target. Now, hey, spread the word. We finna be out here, man. Just blah, blah, blah. I don't think half these motherfuckers really want to do it either, right? I don't think they really want to be, but it's just like, I'm pretty sure there's other shit. There's probably more work for them than normal, right? But again, just like, hey, look, yeah, it ain't tripping. Let me educate you real quick. Oh, but like, I ain't know, you know, okay, well, hey, yeah, it's cool. This is what it is. It's whatever. He could have been a real dick about it because you got a lot of regular law enforcement who will escalate that situation, who will find a way to escalate it simply because they were wrong about it being a cigarette. He just kind of looked and said, okay, cool. He didn't make it a big deal. Oh, you know, well, it's just because you live here, we'll prove that you live here. Like, a lot of these regular motherfuckers will escalate the shit into nothingness. A lot of the experience I've seen with these people, they've been kind of just decent. Like, hey, look, man, blah, 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 blah. Either you're doing the shit or you ain't doing the shit. You're following the protocol or you ain't following the protocol. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just kind of that. That's it, right? And then we're moving along. So, again, I'm not really opposed to, like, again, I was just talking about like posting outside the corner, which is a weird thing, right? Motherfuckers like post outside the corner store drink. Like if you've ever posted outside the corner store, I got some questions. I've gone to a corner store, stopped and had a conversation with somebody maybe that I've met, but just to make a habit of posting outside of a corner store, right? Drinking and then not expecting something to happen. Like what do you think is going to, I don't like smoking outside anyway. The worst I used to do when, you know, whatever, was like when gas was affordable, would be like roll a fucking couple of blunts and hop on fucking the freeway, hop on 610. You know what I'm saying? Because to hit the loop, hop on the loop and hit, you know, go all the way around that bitch, smoke me a blunt or two, listen to some music, got some bang in the trunk, listen to some UGK, listen to whatever I was on at the time, right? And just riding, maybe out the windows down, you know, just in the nighttime, enjoying just a trip, right? Because when the gas wasn't too high, you could fucking do that, right? And just clearing your mind, right? Just having a nice little ride, not fucking with nobody, not endangering nobody, minding my fucking business. But now it's too high. Gas is too expensive to waste doing that type of shit. But, you know, smoking outside ain't never been my forte, right? It just posting up out somewhere, drinking outside ain't never really been my forte. I like the comfort of my own home, right? Because then I know I ain't got to worry about somebody hating on me. I ain't got to worry about some old bullshit motherfucker trying to come up and get me with the Snoop Dogg. Oh, man, let me hit a little bit of you got a little. Oh, nigga. Like, I'm actually trying to think. Have I said nigga at all this stream? That might have been my first nigga this year. You know what? Somebody remind me. I need to add a nigga counter, right? And I'll let the mods I'll let like one mod a stream be in control. I'm going to let Miss Bell be in control of the nigga counter. I'm going to let Miss Bell will be officially in charge of the nigga counter for every stream. I think that would be a great privilege. But anyway, yeah, man, it's like I'd rather just mind my own little business and you know, enjoy my smoke. It's not because they're just the laws, it's because of, you know, vacuum cleaner ass niggas want to smoke all your shit up, don't want to bring nothing to. I got you next time, man. I just had some weed. That was going, no. You know, I enjoy smoking with myself, right? One additional hit on the blunt at the most, and I don't even smoke blunts anymore, right? Now it's joints, if anything. Just because it's better smoke. Joints or glass. So again, they're going around, and again, like I said, they're looking for more violent shit than anything. I don't think they want to waste their time fucking with a little bit of whatever. And honestly, like, yeah, shit, wouldn't mind riding around with a couple of zips. I know they kind of decriminalized it. But I'm curious, if Donald Trump wanted to win, he could do this like in every major city. And then if he wanted to win the black folks back, just legalize the weed or drop it from like a Schedule I substance, and he'll get all the black. Like if he did try to run for a third time, they'd vote for him. That nigga legalize weed. They fucking do it just because it doesn't take very much, right? If he just said he was gonna do that on the last one, shit, he'd definitely had greater black numbers. Anywho, what's going on? All right, I think I showed y'all. I'm trying to make sure what all I have showed y'all what I have. I don't think I showed you guys this one. Let me run through these next couple. I'll stop talking so much. So remember I was just talking about protests, right? Let me just lower this stupid screen, these stupid ass people. When I talk about protests and making protests effective, this is not effective action. This is annoying as shit. This is annoying the fuck out of somebody. Like, what is this doing? They call this the make music protest. What is this fucking doing for anybody? Like, what is this doing that's benefiting the people you feel like are being accosted? What is this doing that's helping, anybody? Like, to what benefit? Hey, we just want some awareness. Awareness is bullshit, right? Awareness, like, people are aware enough. If they give a fuck enough about something, they're going to do something. If they don't, they don't. You make it like I hate the fucking, I hate breast cancer awareness, right? And you say like, oh, you piece of shit, huh? How the hell you hate breast cancer? Everybody's aware of breast cancer. Who's not aware of breast cancer? Who's not aware that this doesn't exist, right? And who's not aware that it's a thing? Where is the breast cancer action month, right? Like, aware that we were talking about words earlier, right? We're, and it's a lot of that. What do they call the daycare generation? Like, we're aware of it. Where's the action? Like, you got people not realizing that they're donating money to these charities for nothing, right? For awareness. Oh, well, hey, you know what awareness is? Awareness is you donating $200 million to the NFL in a month, and then they pay some celebrity $1 million to come out on a commercial and say, hey, breast cancer is bad. And then they keep the rest of their fucking money, right? Like, that's what people don't understand about these charities, about some of these nonprofits, about some of this shit. Like, that's why words, again, like we talked about earlier, spelling, words are very fucking important in the way that they're used. I don't support awareness. I support action. What do I need to be aware of? Hey, breast cancer exists. I fucking know it. I am aware of that, right? Hope that nobody I love gets the shit. Like, America's a crazy place, and from every angle, right? But here we are. So, y'all want to hear the rest of this jam, or we just go on to the next one? Let's just go. I can't listen to this shit. I got fucking headphones on. It sounds terrible. But again, a bunch of grown ass adults. Like, this is how easy it is to convince people to do stupid shit. Hey, let's go get a bunch of tambourines, cowbells, and zippity doos, whatever them things are. Them little fucking things that make those noises. Let's just get a bunch of those that stand on a random corner in front of some mom and pop coffee shop, and let's just make noise. Let's just make noise and just let them know if they come by us, this is going to be the noisiest arrest they ever made. It's fucking terrible. It's like, people don't have shit to do, right? Like, you're making it worse than anything. Like, those people should be arrested. Like, there has to be a noise ordinance. Like, how you can get arrested for I don't even know what they're fucking called. But how there's an ordinance, like if your music's too fucking loud over a certain level of decibels, if you're riding, you're beating too hard. Like, it should be one of those. Like, this should be arrest these people, right? And even if they are all legal, like, send them to ICE. Like, just send ICE after these people, because God damn, this ain't helping shit. This is that is the fucking worst. Like, get a fucking hop. Like, how can you afford to do this? What kind of money do you have to go out and waste doing this kind of shit, right? Like, that shit is pathetic. All right. Is it this one? I'm trying to make sure, because like I said, I think I did some of it. I went out of order. And so I want to make sure I don't repeat the ones I showed y'all. This one is the funniest shit that's happened.
They fooling, man. Hey, Daddy, come on, man. Let's go get him, bro. Let's get that nigga.
No, you don't got me Superman.
No! No, no, no!
Bro! It's not working! Fuck them, bro! Ladies and gentlemen! Stop the drama! Little blue! It's not fucking worth it! Come on, Brian!
Fight the fucking crowd, man.
Your fucking way! You busy?
Remember the motherfucker I was talking about coming to Texas, coming to Houston, talking about, where's the good fucking sub sandwich shop? Yeah, this is what we think about your goddamn sub sandwiches.
Oh! 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 It's fucking good! It's fucking good! It's fucking good!
He cooked him! He cooked him!
I think they eventually got his ass. J-Man, what's the motherfucking deal? They eventually got his ass. But do you understand? He had to obviously be like drunk. That motherfucker had a little step on him, right? Like, this is what I'm talking about. Wolverine, what's the motherfucking deal? This is what I'm talking about being in shape. When you got to be in law enforcement, you got to be in shape. You can't get fucking assaulted with a sub sandwich and not make the arrest, right? You can't just let somebody come over here and hit you with a fucking foot-long blimpy and fucking you don't make the fucking arrest. Like, he was definitely intoxicated. Just his whole response and reaction. Like, you cannot get. You have to understand like how angry you have to be. I've never been an angry drunk. Like that's never. I've never understood that. Like I had a homeboy used to be a real angry drunk. Like he had you could tell when he was drunk too, because he'd have like this little hair that would stand up every fucking time. It was just this little hair that would stand up on it, and that's like when we knew he was in the zone. He started going crazy and do weird shit. But anyway, you got assaulted with a fucking to be drunk and be willing to throw away your food. Like you had to really have some passionate feelings about whatever the fuck was going on, right? Because when you're drunk, you don't want to waste your food. Like, who does that? Like, yeah, he definitely did. Like, he really, like, when he sobered up and thought about that, she's like, I've made 2 terrible mistakes. He was probably more upset about losing the sandwich than probably getting arrested. Like, he probably had money for that, but you catch the charge, you assaulted an officer, so, you know, that's going to be very interesting. Yeah, and you went viral for it. Like, that's it. Yeah, good luck with that one. He might be eating them jailhouse peanut butter sandwiches with the extra dry, probably not real peanut butter. So, 'tis unfortunate. All right, let me see. Let's get through the rest of these, man. I showed you all that nonsense. Let's see what the people on the ground are saying. What are the people who are out there are saying? I find this interesting because I'm pretty sure you're going to have people who are going to say, oh, this doesn't represent D.C.
Finally able to chill at a red light with my window down, not worried about if one of them young niggas is coming. Ride through the city, feeling more safe than I ever felt.
Interesting. Very interesting. All the black politicians were telling you that, hey, everything's fine, the numbers are down. You know, when you're dismissing cases, you're letting people walk free, you're doing all these other things that, you know, blatant actions. Of course you can cook these numbers. You can say all this stuff, right? You can say all this stuff. She's not afraid of the young niggas. She's riding. I'm gonna talk about you while you're riding with your fucking windows down. It's fucking DC, I don't know. I mean, it's hot out here either way. So I'm in Texas. I'm putting my goddamn AC on. Even at night, it's fucking hot. But again, look at her feeling. You know what I'm saying? She's again. It's just like this is what the people are saying. This is what, you know, the individuals who are actually living, because half these politicians don't even live in the areas. If they do, they live in a very high class area. Somebody made a point, man. I didn't save the fucking video, but they were talking about Congress, they were talking about these people, these various people. Like, why do, our representatives have to travel from the state that they represent to Washington, right? Because we have all the technology. Like, taxpayers shouldn't be paying for their fucking flight. If they want to fly, they should pay for themselves. And that he had like a couple of good points. One, it should be that they should have to pay for their own shit. Two was that that they should only make the median income of the people from that particular state, right? Because now you would be incentivized to increase business, increase revenue, and things like that in your state if you were only paid. And then how many people really want that job then, right? How many people want the responsibility of having to represent the people, but you're getting paid an average wage? And how many, you would see a lot of things change very quickly. But it's talking about the votes and all of that stuff. Like, we got fucking Zoom meetings, right? Motherfuckers were A-okay, during the vid. So why do they still need to fly out to go vote? Why can't you just do it from a secure location in your office? You have a secure vote, but all the technologies are there. Everything is there. Why do you need to be in person to vote? Put on a fucking big screen. I don't know if y'all ever watch Archer. We want them fucking big screens so you can talk to your people worldwide. Everybody gets on there, get on a big ass Zoom meeting. Just make sure everybody's present. I'm pretty sure they're all too fucking old to operate the technologies. We always fucking elect these old fucking bastards anyway. But yeah, and there should be term limits. Like, I'm not going to go off on a tangent. It's just, we the people or the sheeple, whatever. So, that's one opinion. So let's look at another opinion of what's going down on the ground, right?
What are the demands here for getting the military off our streets?
Well, it's clear. We demand ICE out of D.C. We demand the DEA out of D.C. All unlawful law enforcement agencies out of the city.
I was just listening to Donald Trump at a press conference, and he's saying now his friends who've been afraid to go out and eat in the restaurants in D.C. for years now they feel that they can go do that. What's your response?
People in D.C. are just afraid. You have the immigrant community scared that ICE is going to come and take them out of their homes, take them from their jobs, take their kids out of school. You have young black youth just scared to go home and walk the streets because they know that they'll be harassed.
So they're not concerned about the young niggas that's actually bopping them upside the head. They're scared for this police presence for a month. You're not scared about like the little bitch in the car talking about I probably shouldn't call it that, but I will. I'm talking about she ain't afraid to get the young niggas, the same young niggas who out there robbing and jacking. Why are they afraid to get stuff? Like, my deal is this, man. Look, I ain't with I think stop and frisk is an infringement of your rights, right? Like, if I'm minding my fucking business and you just jump out on me and get to patting me down, especially in a state where you're open carry, and I'm not saying DC, I don't know what the laws are out there, but I'm not necessarily condoning that, right? Because I believe people should have rights. So everything, if you're that afraid, well, you got to figure that out for yourself. But what's going on is going on. It's happening, but you can't tell me that they're more afraid of the police than they are afraid of the police who have a protocol, especially the federal police, because this is a different game, a different protocol they must abide by than they are of their ops, right? Their ops, which is so weird. Like, so what I find out these young motherfuckers do that's so fucking weird to me. They have like it's like this op shit is weird. Like I don't get it, right? If you had beef with a nigga back in the day, you weren't cool with him on the level. Like, it wasn't like, if it was friendly beef, I guess, it wasn't real beef. Like, these motherfuckers will be beefing with somebody wanting to kill them, and they'll call them up on the phone and FaceTime them and do weird shit like that. And motherfuckers will engage and have conversations, right? They'll have real conversations with people that they don't fucking, that apparently want to kill them or they want to kill or whatever. It's so fucking dumb to me. Right? And honestly, if you're willing to have a conversation with somebody, like, you don't really dislike them as much as you think you do, right? Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. But you're telling me that they're more afraid of the cops than they are of these other little young niggas who have no morals, no ethics, no concern for anybody's well-being, right? And than they are. Anyway, and this music they're listening, I don't know what the fuck they're listening to, but it sounds terrible.
For for being black. This is a scary city. This is a scary space. But guess what? That man's hair is scary. And so maybe you should change that and we can focus on what's really at hand, which is true autonomy in D.C. statehood.
But he's saying that people in D.C., I think he means white people, have been afraid to go out and eat.
You want to know something that pisses me off, especially with white liberals? When they talk like that. Lady, you're fucking white, right? Like, I think he means white. And you're white. Just accept being white. It's okay to be white. You can't help it. You know, that's the hand the genetic lottery dealt you. Embrace it, right? And move on. Well, I think he means being white. Get the fuck out of here. See, and then this is what I'm talking about, words, how words make people think and what words make people, how they respond and react. Because there's going to be some ignorant motherfucker who said, yeah, Donald Trump said, oh, white people can go out and eat now. I heard the white lady say. Like, and there's going to be some crazy shit. It's weird. It's really weird to me.
And be on the streets. Is that your sense as a D.C. person?
No, I don't believe people in D.C. have been afraid to do anything. Guess what? They're residents of D.C., so I believe they like it here.
Thank you.
Thank
Free
you.
DC.
Free D.C.
Obviously, you can't like that much if you're complaining about, want to turn D.C. into a state. Something has to be wrong. Something has to be inaccurate. But again, these people will get on here and be disingenuous, and those will be the same people when as soon as a negative action occurs, they're going to call the cops. And if the cops don't show up in time, remember niggas like 911 is a joke in your town, then they're going to have something to say. But you just said it was peaceful and it was, this, that, and the third. But who am I? I'm just another nigga on the internet. All right, like 2-3 more videos. I think like 2 more. United States Park Police. That's interesting. Oh, I guess that didn't contain as much intel as I thought it would. Boo. All right. I think I showed y'all the ICE stops already. I showed y'all all of this. I think I got 2 things. So you got Janine Pirro. Some of these motherfuckers be on TV so much, I don't even be believing these motherfuckers are really in a position. The only judge I trust is Judge Judy.
Person who has talked about the urban blight, the decay, the crime, the unsafe streets, the fact that people are being mugged and shot and beaten and brutalized is President Trump. And they want to object to it. They want to march and protest. You know what? They should kiss the ground at this point that you've got someone who wants to make the city safe again, who wants to make it clean again. Look, they cleaned out, I think it's 44 homeless encampments. Yes. No one was arrested. I mean, this is the nation's capital. It should look like the nation's capital, the shining city on the hill.
Not bad. I was trying to find the fucking video the whole time. I guess it went off to the side. But kiss the ground. The ground probably tastes like boots. Anyway. But it is, though. There are some weird people, right? Clearing out the homeless encampments. I know things look ugly. It's just a good point. It's the nation's capital. It should be the representation of, your country. If this is the nation's capital where all your leaders and all that are supposed to be making laws and passing laws and they don't do shit, right? And they can't fucking pass a bill. Anyway, it should at least look clean. It should at least look decent. Like, you would think that there would be minimal crime there. It shouldn't be one of the areas where the highest amounts of crime are located. That's concerning, right? It has to be concerning. You know what? I think that's the problem, too. I didn't notice that. Okay. Last, I believe, one I'm going to show you, then we'll sit down, kind of voice my opinions and thoughts on it for the most part throughout the videos. And we can take some calls and we can chop it up, depending. I don't even know how long I've been up here.
Are you from the area of D.C. or are you a tourist?
Born and raised in
You're born and raised in D.C. Are you here are you working in the area or just tourist right now?
I work not far from here.
Where do you, if you don't have to tell me, but where do you work?
I work at a law firm
So you're an attorney?
No, but I assist.
Oh, cool. So what are your thoughts? Today we're talking about D.C. crime rates. Is it safe to live in DC? Do you agree with President Trump federalizing for 30 days to sort of stamp down on crime? What are your thoughts?
I agree with it. I was born and raised in the district, and I've never seen the things that I see today with children as young as 3 years old being shot. I mean, where does that happen? I think it's a bad idea to fear what this president is doing. I mean, he actually lives in the city now. I mean, come on. He would be foolish, I think, to ignore things like that. A child, 3 years old, being shot, or people being shot on the bus. I mean, that happened in upper Northwest Washington, D.C. So, I mean, yeah, I think I
People
agree.
in Upper Northwest and like the areas, because it's hard finding actual DC residents.
So again, this is a woman who works in an attorney's office or something like that. Maybe she's a paralegal, might be a secretary, who knows? But I'm pretty sure, when you work in certain environments that, information gets passed along, sometimes inside information, things like that. Attorneys, lawyers, whatever you want to call them, sometimes they deal with legal stuff like crime and things of that nature, right? So maybe, just maybe, even if that's not their business, you could be a real estate attorney, you could be a like a contract attorney, or whatever. So maybe not crime necessarily, but I mean, I'm pretty sure they're I would say constituents, they're cohorts, they're colleagues. I'm pretty sure they deal with other attorneys and groups, and they go out to the little attorney bars like on the shows after work, after a hard day of writing contracts. I need a cognac, but. But information gets passed around, right? And so she's sitting there telling you, being genuine as a resident. But the other lady who was talking crazy and really didn't have anything sensible to say, was more so concerned about Donald Trump's hair, and probably much more lacking in employment, and at some kind of rally, versus this lady who looked like she was just walking out of her business and got interrupted to do a slight interview. And she's telling you what's going on. She's actually giving you incidents and things that are happening. And she's saying it's bad. She's saying it's terrible. I showed you another black woman. So one of these black women has to be lying, right? Because, black women believe all women. One of these black women has to be lying. So two have said things are dangerous. One has said, everything's perfectly fine. It's the kids that are scared because it's the cops that have been here for less than a month and they're afraid. But then these will be the same people who are saying, the cops are doing this, and this. They'll try to say that, well, DC's crime rates are low. So what is it? Are the cops doing their job? Are they not doing their job? Are they harassing people? What's really going on? And then I told you about the homeless lady who said the cops were good. I wish I really had that video. But again, I think I know which way most people are leaning, but the media is going to show you one thing. And when you talk to the people on the ground, politicians are saying one thing. You talk to people on the ground, they're saying something else.
Here in this area, it's mostly like bureaucrats and whatnot. It's not the real DC people.
Yeah.
Do they generally support this? Do they feel like they want crime to be under control, or are they against it?
I do. I believe that most people that live here, that work hard every day and have families, they want the crime rate to be brought under control. They want the situation of, like I said, children being shot, seniors being assaulted. They want that under control. Okay. And I believe that this is the best thing that has happened to this city in a very, very long time, for the president to take control and, of the police, of the crime. I think it's a great idea. I really, really do.
Question for me now. Where in DC, I'm new to DC and I actually live in Virginia on the borderline in Arlington. If I wanted to go talk to real DC people, not bureaucrats, not lobbyists, not people working in the area, like people that are actually born and raised here, where would I go to find them and actually ask questions like this?
I would say, kind of in the, probably just northwest and southeast, from like the higher rate of socioeconomic areas, and then maybe where people were struggling. Right. I think really actually where people are struggling.
If you could give me how about like a shopping area that I could look up, that where I could go, there's people walking around that I could walk up to on the street, maybe like a city center area where there's like people just walking that I could talk to?
I'd say Pennsylvania Avenue, southeast.
What would the cross street be?
That would be it would be more like Potomac Avenue neighborhood, the Potomac Avenue neighborhood.
Let me put that just in case that, thank you for this information. Because I like.
Where? Sure.
Hold on. Potomac, what was it?
Potomac Avenue.
Avenue area.
Probably doesn't even matter. Like everyone went to a fucking tour of DC. Anywho, so again, this seems like somebody who's familiar with the area. She lives there. She's telling you where you want to find people who want to do this. It's probably somebody from out of town who's like, let me get in on some of this DC news. I don't chase the news. Anyway, yeah, I got somebody was sharing. People tend to share a lot of Blackheart information with me, and I'll share that in the Discord. Some very interesting photos of some Blackheart activities that were shared. And anywho, so again, man, I'm not opposed to whatever it is if it gets the results that are needed, right? Because things are out of hand, for businesses, especially if you have an entrepreneurial spirit. The crime is terrible, right? It's bad for business. It's bad for individuals. Like if you don't feel comfortable going out to have a nice evening, you can't go out on a date with your old lady and not get robbed, right? And let's be honest. You know how women are. You go out on a date with your old lady, you get robbed, she'll never look at you the same again. You better fight to the death like fucking some kind of action hero or some shit, or else that coochie gonna dry right up, right? And so, I'm not saying that you don't, but if you can avoid situations like that, you probably want to, because in some of these cities, if you do fight back, you stood your ground, you're going to jail, right? So it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation, but it is what it is. So, hey, let's get it. Wow, I've been talking significantly longer than I realized. I gotta get a concept of time. I have no time awareness, right? I start looking at the clock. All right, so let's do this. Let me switch up the scene real quick, and then we'll take some calls. If you guys want to have some calls. If not, I will continue to ramble on, but I'm going to sit down in this chair, all right? And actually, give me about 45 seconds while I switch scenes here. 45 seconds to a minute to do that. I'm still mad about the coffee maker, but I need to take a small break. Give me just a second. About 1 minute. I'll be right back. All right, my apologies about that. I've been doing so much tweaking on stuff, I forgot to fix this. Let me see what's going on with the camera real quick. Peanut, leave me alone. That's why you were outside. Can't access properties here. Hold on 1 second. Excuse me. Oh, come on. Why are you doing this? Act right. Act appropriate. Give me just a moment for whatever reason. For whatever reason, this camera is acting a little janky. Oh, I guess I should cut the line on as well. So while I'm getting this together, give me just, you know what? Let's try this. Let's do that. That's not it. No, that's not it. Huh. Oh, I know what's happening here. Let me reset this for just a second. Take a look around. Tell me what's going down. Oh, it's not good. Let's see here. Let's try that. All right, there we go. Excuse me. Pardon me. Pardon me. Excuse me. All right, and there we go. So, that's not sitting right. Anyway, so like I said, so DC, don't be surprised if this is not the last, right? This is not, here, we'll put it right here. Don't be surprised if this is not the last of location you see with a federal president. This may be just a test run, right? And this could be a greater sign of things to come, and not necessarily a greater sign of good things to come. So, you know, you can feel a particular kind of way. Yeah, you want the outcome, you want the results, but at what cost, right? Because again, you talk about a occupation of a city. Don't you stop? I didn't pick you up here so you can sniff and shit. The occupation of a city by a country's military. Hey, you motherfucker! You bite that child will beat you. You already took a little nip out there. You didn't get out. Get out. Didn't take you 2 goddamn seconds. Put your shit out to beat you. Just see, this is why you be out. This is why you out. Look at that. You motherfucker. And I already took a little nick out the guy there. Didn't take it up. That's my fault for having it close enough for you to fucking reach it. You asshole. Anyway, well, there's that. Thanks a lot, Peanut. So we can, if you have some thoughts. Well, let me update this real quick. And pop back up. You want to take some calls? If you have a particular thought, if you agree or disagree with what's going on. If not, I think I've spilled most of my sauce that I have on that. Because I am, so I've been telling you about the updates and things. Last call for alcohol. If you have, hey, god damn it, get out, fat dog. Get out. You pulling shit down, you doing shit, you just being, look, just because you see what happens, he gets left out. He's a fucking Velcro dog. And like, I'm not around him for a few minutes, he gets all weird and crazy. So you need to go. You need to abscond, Peanut. Give me just a moment. You gotta get out. You gotta get out, because this is not going to work for me. In just one moment. You fucking clawing at me and shit. Come on. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. So, again, don't be surprised if, depending on where you are, depending on where you live, depending on what state you may be in, if, this military police presence, this federal police presence, again, they said that there's 5 other cities that are possibly on the list, all Democratic cities. And, it makes sense, regardless of your political allegiance, that the numbers, right? Because a lot of these places, I think when the article I showed y'all in the beginning, it said that, especially these other 5 cities that have been mentioned, that the numbers have dropped across the board. One, I don't believe that. I believe all of these numbers are getting cooked. I believe all these numbers are getting manipulated, because if your police force, your police presence has not increased, right? And you have less resources circling around, right? So people are losing jobs, not hiring, AI is taking over stuff, less accessibility to things. Whoever's fault it is, it's neither here nor there. But what happens is, if you're, limiting the government assistance and shit like that, when people don't think they have other opportunities, results, or whatever, what do? They turn to crime. So there's no way you're going to make me believe that crime is just decreasing across the board, right? Just in all the major cities, we've decided, the people who are participating in the act have decided that we're going to take some time off. We're just not going to do anything negative. I don't believe it. You can't sell me that conversation, right? So the reason why I believe, this is part of the reason why I believe that they're getting cooked, they're getting manipulated, and it just doesn't make sense to me. Again, I could be wrong. It could be some kind of anomaly going on where everybody just felt like taking off this year. And it's hard to believe. It's hard for me to see it, but just expect it to happen, right? If you're in a major city where activities like this are taking place, expect to see this happen. And if so, depending on how you appear or come across, you may have to be concerned. But again, it's not like some Gestapo tactics where old buddy sitting on the porch. He didn't force the issue of ID, but you see many incidents where your local law enforcement, somebody be walking down the street, right? And don't have to show ID in those circumstances if you haven't been suspected of a crime. Being suspicious is not a crime, right? It's always that anonymous. Well, somebody called us and said, well, who are they? Right? Like, for that to be taken into account, like whoever that caller is, then they should have to be presented. They should have to be addressed, right? And people say, well, if you do that, then, people won't want to feel safe. Well, then you probably shouldn't care about the crime. If you're not being assaulted, like if people who are in danger, they call, right? People who are like getting harmed, they call and say, hey, I'm getting beaten up over here. I'm getting attacked over here or whatever. And then you have people who know that there are no consequences for their actions. I see a guy across the street, I don't like him. He's walking his dog. That dog pooped in my yard one day. I'm going to say he's looking suspicious, right? You can do anything. So I think we need to alleviate that, right? So that way, one, a lot of the false calls, a lot of the bullshit, they're not taking up police resources to, and those things, that energy can be directed towards real crime. That energy can be directed towards real problems, right? But it is what it is. And you can't tell me because, again, these places, a lot of these law enforcement, they have quotas. It's a been known thing. We need this. These cities are broke. A lot of these cities have less money than they've had. Houston is broke right now. So what's one way that you build up revenue? By putting the bill collectors with guns onto the people, right? So you can extract some funding from their pockets as if you don't tax them enough as it is already. So either way, I wouldn't be surprised if you see once this 30 days is up in in DC, don't be surprised if you see it in nearby cities. If you see it in Baltimore, if you see it in, Chicago, if you see it in Houston, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, don't be shocked, right? If so. So this is what we're going to do. That's what I'm going to do, because I'm actually I cooked right before the stream. I didn't have time to eat. I'm not going to lie. I went downstairs to investigate the coffee machine again on my little Hiace, my little Be Right Back, and it's still broken. So I got to figure that out. That's been bugging me the entire stream. Like, it's been in the back of my mind the entire stream because I want coffee tomorrow morning. And then I did eat a pickle slice, right? So a homemade pickle slice. Homemade pickles. It's a very interesting conversation I want to have. Like I say, we talk about the news thing. I'm gonna drop some more newsy news content. I got 2 or 3 things recorded shit I want to do, but I've been working on the new look, and I feel like the new look is done for the Den. The new look that I want to do is done. It's just to the point where, especially if you're a sauce person, to be good news. I said Wednesday, but it's probably gonna be Thursday at the latest. Because like I said, I just want everything to be done where I don't have to do anything more with the Den. And so everything is pretty much covered. I just have a few automations left. The look, everything as far as the look and the consistency, everything is good with that. It's just some added little features that I'm working on, making sure that a couple of connections are working so that the shenanigans can ensue. And then basically what I'm gonna do is just, like I say, copy paste pretty much everything that I got. It sounds a lot easier than it really is, but pretty much copy everything that I already have because the hard work's been done, the bugs have been worked out, all of that shit is done, and just duplicate that for the sauce, do a couple of color changes. I'm probably not gonna do a full-on different look just yet. I'll do that in the meantime because it's kind of an easier thing to do, but just probably make everything purple since the sauce is more purpley. And yeah, so that way just basically copy paste all that, and that way just everything's running for the sauce, just on a different copy of what I'm doing. So that way you don't have to wait that long. I won't make it delayed any longer. I've been putting the feelers out, and I've shot if you are on the sauce. I've been getting some good feedback from that, so I'm definitely looking forward to chopping up with y'all again on that. Then, folks, I love y'all no matter what. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. So I'm probably not gonna get a Discord this evening. Like I said, I want to continue trying to get everything done. Probably pull another. I didn't stay up as late as I wanted to last night, but I'm probably pull a late night tonight to get everything knocked out, just so tomorrow can hopefully just be a day of really just, like I say, iron out even the littlest wrinkles, and then, like I say, copy and paste, getting everything together for the sauce. So sauce possibly tomorrow, more than likely Thursday. So that being said, it's your boy Ed Honcho. I'm actually kind of tired. Now I'm sad because I don't have my coffee, but we got work to do. With that being said, I'm chunking up a deuce. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. And again, thank you for watching. Hit that like button before you head out. But y'all stay saucy. Not saucy. I'm getting back in the sauce already. I'm talking about style, stay saucy. I'm definitely tired. I'm talking crazy now. I'll catch y'all on the flip side, man. With that being said, I'm going tomorrow. We'll try to shoot for 6 o'clock. That's what I say when I start getting later. That's what I say after 8 o'clock. I start getting old. It's old man time. But yeah, I'm gone. Adios ski. Oh, I forgot this.